Okay, so welcome everybody to the November 2023 koha-US Web Development SIG, where we talk about breaking Koha and what George is eating for lunch, but he's not here today yet, so maybe we'll find out later. Does anybody here have questions or things they want to talk about? Is this your first meeting? I don't recognize some names, but my brain has been like bleeding out, oozing out of my head. So maybe I know I've seen Rachel in some meetings before, and Chris, where are you guys from? Let's start there. I know Kelly's from Texas. Where are you from, Chris and Rachel?
I am from Southern Oregon, actually, and I am just starting into some of these meetings.
Okay.
So I haven't broken anything horribly quite yet.
Well, hopefully we can fix that. What library are you from?
Jackson County Library Services. We're based out of Bedford.
Okay. Rachel.
I'm at the Santaquin City Library, which is a small town in Utah, and I literally have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just keep trying to figure out these things and still managing to break things, but like minor breaks. So like I can fix them usually, but basically I have no idea what is going on.
Okay, well, like stop us anytime if you have questions. This SIG is usually like playing around with jQuery, CSS, HTML, customizing Koha with the tools that it gives us.
Is it Kelly?
Hi, I'm here. Video's not working, but I'm here.
Which library are you from?
McKinney, Texas.
You're McKinney. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. Now I'm putting your face to the name that's on the screen.
And I guess we should introduce ourselves too. I'm Jason. I'm the Take and Find coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System. We have a consortium of 49 libraries, and we've been using Koha since 2008. So I've been breaking it for a little while now.
I'm Barbara Johnson. I'm at Bedford Public Library, Texas. We've been on Koha since 2016, and we are just one single library.
And the leader of this group is actually Lucas from Bywater, but he can't always make the meeting, so I've seized power again today. And if he drops in, I'll feed it.
He says he has an overlapping meeting, and if it gets done, he'll try to get here.
Okay. So anything, Barbara, you said you had something before we started the recording. Do you want to start?
Sure. Let me see if I can share my screen correctly. Okay, do you see an opaque screen?
Yep.
So we decided we wanted to change up the way the results page looked in the Koha opaque a little bit and not have the alternating white and then light gray kind of stripe type model. And so we added kind of a, I don't know, what are those called, like a shadow box or whatever kind of thing. And just have it look like that. And it also somewhat integrates with the sort of card style that we have in our kids opaque. So it's kind of a connecting type of feel. And it wasn't really hard to do. And I got it all looking nice. I had to change the background of the light, like the second one here would be light gray, I guess. And I had to change everything to white, and then it had the shadow and that kind of stuff. And it all looked great, and it looked great on my phone, but it didn't display at all on an iPad. And so I had to go do some digging, and I can't even remember how I solved it, but I know Jason led me somewhere, and that didn't work, but it made me think about something else. And then, but somehow now I've got it working. And here highlighted are the things I did, changing the background color, and I gave it a box shadow. And you have to have this border collapse separate, which a lot of times I don't even understand this stuff. I just find it and try it, and it's like, that works. So I go with it. And so basically that's what I do.
It looks nice. It's really clean.
I kind of like it. And I decided to do it over here on the filter. Just because. Well, that's all.
Would you be willing to share that code? Like, I don't even know if that's okay to ask, but
It's always okay to ask. And yes, I will drop that into the chat right now.
thank you. Cause like, I'm still just like trying to piece it all together. And so like, the more little pieces I get, the more I understand what is going on and how this works. So thank you.
So while you're doing that, I've been playing with the pages a little bit. I talked about it a little bit at sysadmin earlier in the week, and I made some more progress on that, so I can show off what I've done there. The screen. So I didn't actually get there to begin with. So I've got this like junky table under my quick links for cleanup reports that goes out to a separate website because that's how I had to do things before. That just sort of curates some reports that we have our libraries run to clean things up. So since pages were introduced, I decided, hey, I don't have to do that anymore. I can bring that back into Koha. So I did that. And created the page here. So this is like some extra scripts and stuff to make it look nice. I took all that away and just used Koha's built-in bootstrapped stylings. So it's a lot lighter code and it's just using Koha styles and matches. The problem is this left-hand column. Whenever you create a page, it files it under tools, basically. So you can see up in the URL, it's still tools. And it fills in the tools sidebar. So I wrote some jQuery to eliminate that and make it like give it context. So that since this is a reports page, I wanted it to have more of a reports sidebar feel. I didn't completely replicate the reports sidebar. So like every module in Koha has its own little thing going on here on the left. So tools, if I disable the JavaScript, you can see this is what it originally looked like. So the breadcrumb was tools, and then it's listing all these tools, which doesn't make sense for my end users. If they're coming to a page about reports, I want them to navigate back to reports. So I just hit all that and replaced it with, I replaced the breadcrumb, and then I built out a little sidebar that isn't as extensive as what Koha does with the filters and things, but at least draws them back to reports if they need it. And I did write a bug about this, about how Koha needs to allow you to set the context of the page within the system, like tell it what module you're wanting the page to live under. And I'll find that and put that in the chat.
I really like that.
It still needs some work. Like, so I also have this, I can just show you, I guess. I will explain it with my hands and that will tell you everything. So I have all those reports, but I also built this issue tracker later on, which is on the Circ homepage. So it's like duplicating a lot of work there. So like I've got the holds awaiting pickup report, and it's also under my holds tab here. So I need to clean it up a little bit more and make it more useful. I've also considered breaking this out into its own page so that it doesn't run every time that you go to the Circ homepage, because I know that's a problem. It's a big report and it runs a lot of little reports, which is putting unnecessary stress on the system. So that's another idea for pages that I had, was like trying to make more dashboard type things that they could click onto and search. The problem is, like, this is in their face and they're used to looking at it. And if I take it off this page now, they're probably not going to click a link to go see it. So I like to like I put the numbers on these reports to try and, like, it reduces the number of clicks, because if it's a 0, then they know they don't have to click it, but it also gives them visual warning that, hey, you've got an issue you need to take care of. So yeah, my cleanup reports page is still a work in progress, but I was happy to be able to bring that back into Koha and make it like coherent and not just some weird random page on a weird random website.
I got something.
Go for it.
So it's another staff interface thing. Hopefully you guys can help because I'm kind of scratching my head. As you know, we went away with the physical cards, so we're only doing digital cards, but now having some policy changes where we want to provide internet-only cards just for computer lab use and stuff like that. So we're wanting to find a way to print out our barcode that's in the account, in the patron account, but we're kind of racking our brains on how to do that. One thing we're tossing around is customizing the print slips. So we're playing with the print quick slip, but my question is, in those slips and notices, are you able to use jQuery with those, or will that just not work? I can't seem to get it to work, so I might be doing something wrong.
I know I've got like, let me dig a little. I know I've got something that's doing, like, my saving calculator on my slips is still using jQuery, I think, instead of template toolkit.
Okay. And I know not all of those print slips are in the notices, so that was why we chose the quick slip one.
I thought I can explain this. I have no idea what I did, but I can show you what it looks like in my slips area. Okay, so like this is, ooh, look at that. That's new. This is my issue slip, so not quick slip.
Okay.
But and it's not using template to put it at all. We're still using the old retro, except maybe there's some in there. But down at the bottom, I just have a script tag,
Okay.
and it's doing stuff. And then there's another script tag doing stuff there. I know there's also a system preference for slip CSS and maybe slip jQuery. I might have put stuff in there too.
Okay. I was using the staff JS, so that might be why.
Yeah, intranet slip user JS. I think that's where you want to go with it.
Okay. Awesome.
And that'll get it working on the slip, hopefully.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Other stuff, questions, curiosities? How'd you do that? Things I wish it could do.
I mean, I have one, but I'm pretty sure it's something that is pretty standard, but I cannot figure it out. So I'd love if y'all could tell me where the stupid setting is. Because I've been working on our OPAC and I hate this thing. And I can't figure out how to change it and put like actual pages we use and actual like, because I didn't actually know pages was a thing until you were talking about it earlier this week. And I'm like, oh, that's a thing we can do. But I don't know where this is and how to make it go away because I hate it.
So mine is hidden. I want to say it's an HTML customization block. So you can, I think, is that right? Barbara, do you know? There's one called OPAC More Searches, and I want to say that the OPAC More Searches controls that.
I think
Um,
that's true. And I think there's also like we added some links for some local stuff. And I think I had to do that through jQuery maybe. Let me poke around.
Yeah, because I've been trying to figure out where that is. And like, because it's built it like it's just there. And I don't know how to disable it so I can put in my own bar or like anything. I can't figure out what it is. And I hate it.
Let me pull up my test servers. I don't, let's see, and we can look maybe. So I don't have it because I've hidden it, but I'm wondering if it's because it doesn't exist or if it's because I used CSS to hide it. But what I'm talking about is this additional content and then OPAC More Searches. I'm thinking it's that. But I may be wrong. Yeah, see, I've got it hidden.
Will you go back to the where it wasn't the H?
So it's under tools and then HTML customization. So you can check there and see if you've got one that's
I do not have a more search.
I think it's hard coded, and when you add stuff to this, it adds it into it. Let
So do I need
me
to create it to like hide it?
No, you should be able to just hide it with CSS. I just wanted to see what happens when I disable my.
So if I were to disable the
That didn't work.
CSS, disable like hide the, is it called like more searches? That's its tag.
That's what I was trying to figure out what what we're looking for there.
Because when I inspect the website, let me. Oh,
I don't have an OPAC More Searches either. It doesn't look like. And then I went through my jQuery and I found where this first one is not really what you're asking, but this was how I added something additional to that line. And then I think I found.
Yeah, so the element should be, the ID is more searches.
yeah.
So if you just want to get rid of it, you should be able to just display it on that. I mean,
Yeah.
in your OPAC user CSS.
That sounds lovely because it's been driving me crazy. And now that I know I can actually replace it with useful tabs and pages, that's lovely. So usually when you guys put in, because Barbara, you were saying you guys had something else, like what did you put in to replace that essentially?
Go share my screen. See it?
Mhm.
So here where it's got
Yeah.
databases and kids catalog, those were two things we added. So the kids catalog goes to the
Mhm.
kids page, and then we've got our This is using goes to the restricted pages. So I've got all our databases on one of the restricted pages, and you have to log in order to see everything that we've
Okay.
got. And then the other, I think I just retitled, or maybe new search is one I added as well, but the advanced search, the most popular in the browse, are all like built-in ones.
Okay. Thank you. That helps a lot.
And I put in there if you do that, more searches, display none, that should get rid of, if you're wanting to get rid of all of it, that whole line, you could put that in.
Yeah, I found that exact same snippet in my OPEC user CSS. And it does just sort of, if you use that HTML customization, like where I typed, what is this? I'll show you. I lost my zoom controls. So it's hard to see because the font color is in its background, but I unhid it. And then if you use that HTML customization thing, it just appends onto it. So you can add more to the list. So if you like some of what's there, you could hide some of the list items and then append more, or you could hide the whole thing and then rebuild it with what like Barbara did.
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing that because nobody uses those buttons. Like, I think we forget that they are even there because they are not useful, and so you ignore what you don't use.
Yeah, and for us, we've kind of moved all that stuff around. So like we use the course reserves module for displays. So I've got that under the Explore menu, and then displays is an option. The libraries directory, I've moved down to the bottom with the map so that people can click and see our list of libraries there. So I just moved everything into more logical places and eliminated it completely on ours. Hey, Christopher joined us. Have you been doing anything fun breaking Koha, Christopher?
Define fun. No, I have not. I am trying to find time to carve out to play with the kids OPAC. I've got some initial the plugin installed, but out of the box it doesn't look as fancy as what you guys have done. And did you guys share any of your customizations? I know that you presented it, but I can't remember if you gave resources or code or anything, what you've done.
Yeah, I put a GitHub link on the slides. I can share it here too, though. I can go back and find it. It's not like completely up to date because I know I made one or two small changes, but my code's all there if you want to tinker with it.
Yeah, that would be
That'll find-
helpful because I don't want to reinvent the wheel if you guys created something wonderful that I just want to harvest.
And did not Jason, did Lucas say that he was willing to still incorporate more of your changes?
Yeah, it's just sort of a when he finds time. He's updating the plugin, which he doesn't have a lot of that, as evidenced by his double booking today. So. I can't find the link in the slide, so it'll take me a few more minutes, but please continue talking about things WebDev and code.
I haven't been doing much to Koha lately because I've been busy working on trying to get our first promo out, so for SIGs, so that's been kind of fun.
It was very nice.
Thank you.
You said my mic was going bad. Are you able to hear me?
What?
You sent me a message that said, I think your mic is going bad. So I said, are you able to hear me?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, you're a little staticky, a little faint.
And I've heard some kind of clicking noises and weird noises. And then I muted myself and they seem to go away. So I think maybe something is.
I see your link there. Awesome. I am going to bookmark that.
Yep. And like I said, I think I changed something, but I don't remember what it was. So I may go in and update those files when I get time, which won't be this week. Yeah. I was trying to think what else what I've been playing with, you know? Oh, this is a little thing, but I found that one of my libraries was trying to do batch deletion, and I guess the focus goes to the header in the top bar now instead of the scan your barcode box. So she kept like, and she's new, so she doesn't know what she's doing. So she kept like scanning it into the search bar, and then she's like, oh, I guess I have to delete it one at a time. And then she'd go back to batch deletion. So I did write a little snippet of code to refocus that on that page. And I know there's a bug out there already, but it
I
hasn't
was
been
looking
fixed yet.
through the 2305 and there's a few bugs out there fixing some focuses. I don't know if it addresses that particular one, but they had a few of those break that they've had to fix. It may
Yeah.
have to do
So
with the new interface and IDs
I think
changing.
it does. Yeah. So that's my little very complex code snippet that fixes that issue if anybody else is running into that. But yeah, I think you're right, Christopher. I think it was the whole redoing of the header bar has messed up some of those things. And then I did try to play with Lucas's print a notice page that he showed off at conference, and I got a little ways into it. I guess I can share that. My problem is the notices all disappeared in my test server, so then I didn't have anything to look at. I had this one and select a notice print, and I think I broke it still. Let's see what happens. Nope, I'm still broken. But look at that page. It's a page.
But yeah, you don't have a notice to select there, so that's why
I
it
know.
won't do
I
anything.
was working on it the other day, and then I slept, and now it's broken. I was trying to set a default so that it would hone in on whatever notice was actually in my system. But I won't troubleshoot that on camera. But I did get pretty far along with like replicating what he was showing us. Like it'll run the report, it'll bring the notice up on the page in a little box, and you can edit it, unlock it and edit it and print it. I'm still having trouble with the print keeping everything. Like when you hit the print button, I lose some of the formatting and stuff. But I've gotten further along than I thought I could. And I'm also in the process of like trying to redo our notice templates too. I've got a meeting tomorrow with my consortium to try and convince them that all of their notices should look like this, and they don't all need custom templates for every single notice. That's not private data. That's a test patron. So I'm trying to crash course myself on templates we'll get to, because we're still using basic notices for that. And I found where Carolyn had put one on the wiki, and I've been trying to adapt that for us so that we can sort of do away with the fallback print notice process and direct people to a page. And they can go there every day, print their print notices there, and not have to worry about formatting, because right now it's just raw text and they have to go in, take it over to Word, put in the page breaks and all that. I can build all that in on this, as far as I can tell. We can get it all lined up so they can just stuff it in the envelope and go. So that's another sort of big project that I'm in the middle of, but obviously can't show you much.
What would be cool is if you could expand on that, and instead of relying on, if a library does print notices, instead of relying on that useless email that gets sent to libraries, if you could push a button and say, hey, print the notices, those print notices for this particular library, and it would print all those off nice and formatted the way you
That's my
expect
end
it.
goal. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to head with this, where they can just go to a page and print them, like, and make that part of the daily routine, and not have to do any more work than that other than hit a button.
That'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah, I was. Go ahead.
Oh, before we stopped doing print notices here, when we were doing them, of course, the overdues and the holds are done separately, and they're done differently, and they're not formatted nicely. And I think I want to say it's the overdues, but I could be wrong. One of them, it's all the libraries together. It's not the individual libraries. And so we had to create a word, what is it? We had to set up Word to parse out. No, I had to set up a web page so you could select your library and parse out the notices from that file, and print those, format it and print those. And then I had a Word macro that did the other one that is separated for, by library. I had a macro that just formats that nicely. So it was all over the place trying to tame those print notices. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, I don't see us doing away with them in the near future. I don't have a lot of libraries that are mailing them, but they like to get the sort of fallback so that they can follow up with a phone call or whatever, which they could easily be using a report for that too. So maybe I need to look at workflows. Hey, Lucas.
Hello.
We're just talking about web dev and stuff. Is there anything you wanted to bring to the group today?
I have nothing. I just wanted to show up and say hi. Sorry I was late at another meeting at the same time.
Totally okay. I'm trying to think. I mean, I can't recap it. I told you my brain was oozing out the side of my ear when we started, and that's true. We talked about notices a little bit. We talked about Barbara showed off her OPAC enhancements, her recent OPAC enhancements. And I showed off a page that I built to list out cleanup reports and doing fun stuff with pages. I've been trying to replicate your little print notice thing, and I showed my failure there. It's almost there, but I keep getting distracted away from it. So it's gonna be really nice once I get it working. The one problem I ran into is, like, I'm having trouble maintaining some of the formatting when it goes to print, like it's using the print style sheet or whatever. But it's been a week or two since I looked at it, so I can't exactly say what I'm doing wrong there.
If it's coming from your notice, look for the template toolkit filter collapse. Because sometimes, as you notice, is like go through things like gather print, like get really weird. Your CSS, like the spacing gets weird. It tries to add breaks and stuff like that. But if you wrap the whole thing in filter collapse, it preserves everything. I'll see if I can find the link to the template toolkit documentation.
Thank you.
We did a customized third overdue notice, and this is several years ago. And Lucas and I spent a lot of time back and forth, and him helping me figure out template toolkit stuff and styles. I'm going to try to drop it in the chat. I don't know if it's too long, but yes, it says my message is too long. See if I can break it into two.
If not, you can also go to like paste pen and paste it, and that'll just give you a link to put in the chat. I mentioned that bug earlier about the focus not getting set in the batch item deletion. It looks like the bug is for batch item modification, so there might need to be a bug in there for deletion as well, but it might hit them both. I see Lucas signed off on this.
Never used paste bin before. Do you just drop your stuff in and then what?
Yeah, usually I just like paste it in and then hit send. You can add a title to it or something, but all you really have to do is put it in the box, big box at the top, and then click create.
Been forever since I've used one of those.
There's another pages bug that I wanted to point out and I can't find it. I think it was the idea of pages should have more meaningful URLs. Like right now it's just a page ID, and it'd be nice if we could actually define what the slug is. I know I saw a bug similar to that at least.
Yeah, I feel like somebody filed that bug at the conference this year when we were talking about all that.
Paste bin.
So I think I did that right. The one thing I know is, and maybe that thing that Lucas was talking about on the collapse does what we had to do. But anyway, I couldn't do the CSS like you would normally do it. I had to remove every single blank space. And when you look at it here in this paste bin, it looks like there's lots of spaces between things. But in Koha, there is absolutely no space between stuff pretty much.
So this, you're probably right, Barbara. This is another way of overcoming that problem is to minify everything like it is in your file. But wrapping it in the filter collapse is better because you can then still read it and make edits to it.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of.
I wish. I hate it when things are all just like a blob. I wish I could take this and go into Notepad Plus and say, hey, reformat this to easier reading.
You can do that with like the CSS bits of this by using just like Google CSS beautifier. But you're probably not going to find one that does it for the template toolkit.
Hmm.
Barbara, is this your Odoo 3 for print?
Yes.
It's weird to see the use of use in the middle of the code. Usually I see it up at the top. Like your use koha dates and use date.
I have no idea, but I know it works.
Oh, I'm sure it does. It's just usually those things are declared traditionally at the top. Interesting.
Oh, I can share the one that I held up to if you want to see what I've got going so far. I haven't tested it with anything yet. I've been testing it with the overdue slip thing so that I could easily look at it. And I know it still needs work. It's like a big mix of different things. But it looks nice when I print it as an overdue slip, which tells me that it'll probably look okay when I print it as an actual notice, send it as an actual notice, but I haven't tested it at a library yet. I built some logic in there to like define what our collection codes are to make them more patron friendly. That was something I learned. We've got about 12 minutes to round out the hour. Are there other things people want to talk about?
I have a question okay, so you're using cases to convert item code to a description. Can you not pull up the actual description with Template Toolkit?
I think I can, but I didn't like everything I was using there. So like, so like my periodicals say magazine or periodical, and I wanted it to say magazine, so I wanted to change the verbiage anyways and shorten it because like on the page I wanted this table where it was like you could read the whole thing and it wasn't taking up a lot of space. So like AB is adult book, JB is juvenile book. I wanted those to both read as just book, so that to give it a more general type than what my collection code descriptions are.
Aren't there two sets of descriptions, one for staff and one for public? I mean, if you're gonna display it one way for the public in one place, why are you displaying it differently in another place for the public? I mean, wouldn't you want it to be consistent?
Maybe. I mean, I just felt like juvenile books took up too much space on my notice, really. That's what led me to doing that. Because I feel like if they're getting a notice in the mail, they don't really need to know that it's a kid's book. They just need to know that it's a book. But if they're searching the catalog, I do want them to know that it's a kid's book. You're right, I should have more consistent vocabulary, but our existing vocabulary is too long and I can't change it now.
I try to do things so that I have the least amount of work.
Why would I want that? I need more work because I obviously
Job
don't have enough.
security, huh? I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Well, I think that's all I've been playing with. I haven't done really anything new on the kids catalog other than that thing I can't remember. Can I tell by just looking at a glance? We did launch it for testing at several libraries. So I'm hoping to come up with some more like formal usability testing for the kids. So like a sticker chart or an emote chart or something where they can like pick, I liked it, I hated it, I'm happy, it made me sad, that sort of thing. But also have like maybe a QR code for the parents to scan on the back so that they can then give feedback as well. Because right now it's just kind of out there and it's word of mouth feedback. And I'd like to formalize that and get some like actual data to drive some more decisions on where we go with it, like changes we make. Do we need to add the account level stuff like logging in and placing holds and that sort of thing? But yeah, that's where I'm at with it right now. I see, Lucas, you put something in the chat.
I took Barbara's minified overdue notice and unminified it and added that filter collapse.
Cool. You're so kind. My eyes don't hurt now. Now I can better appreciate what's going on here. So Barbara, what's the overall, catch me up to speed. What's the overall accomplishment that you were doing here with the template toolkit?
I don't remember. It's like 2 years ago when CERC staff came and they wanted a different overdue notice. I think what I started with was we had just the built-in non-template toolkit notice, and I think they wanted to add like a subtitle and some extra information about the item so that the patron would be more clear that they had like for graphic novels or something, it was hard to distinguish between which volume or that kind of thing. I think that's where it started. And then whatever my question was, Lucas said, yes, you can do that, but you're going to have to do that in template toolkit. And so then we decided, well, let's just template toolkit the whole thing. That's what I recall.
So do I see some logic in there that is taking your subtitles? I'm trying to understand the if statement on the subtitle. Oh, okay. So it's checking to see if there's a subtitle, and if there is one, it's showing it. I get it. Okay.
sometimes it's nice to just check for any given field so
Yeah.
that you don't the something that I don't like about the old bespoke syntax is if you add something, if it's not there, it's just a blank line.
I wish that logic was just built in. I mean, if you're going to reference something, if it doesn't exist, then just ignore it rather than breaking or adding extra lines or something. It would be easier. I mean, logic, logic stuff like that, if I'm going to check if something exists, I do want that condition, but I mean, if I just, if I want something to be there, if it's there, I shouldn't have to tell it to use some logic. I'm just looking forward to when we can get away from the hungry alligators list over on the side and its template toolkit list over on the side, adding some not only references to the elements that you can use, but also the logic that you could use, in that template. So you can insert an if statement or if else statement. You don't have to construct all that from scratch or go figure out, can I use this here? Is it available? The one thing that I did notice with template toolkit is, and I know that there's a bug out on this, is attributes. You can't use, I think it was patron attributes in template toolkit. You can't call them. So there's a bug on that right now. You still have to use the hungry alligators for that one. But I do like the fact that the hungry alligators does create a distinct call for each patron attribute, which is really nice. And Jason posted the bug for that. Getting a lot of +1s on there. Needs some movement. Boy, I'll tell you, template toolkit seems to be the one thing that nobody wants to touch. Whether it's documentation or incorporation into making it easier in the template, or just something like this. How long has this been out? This has been out since April. It's still new. Seems rather important, but I think as long as the hungry alligators are out there, people aren't balking about it as much. But the thing too with this, if we don't get a lot of conversation and demand for template toolkit, people will just be falling back to the hungry alligators. They're not and I'm wondering where that puts development. Is development pausing on adding more to the hungry alligators, or are they adding the template toolkit stuff that we can't find? What is that doing in development as far as accessing new fields in templates?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna find much enhancement to the old syntax, the hungry alligators.
And that's the
It's just not as
problem.
good. And there's a bug out there somewhere that just says remove it altogether in favor of template toolkit, which is just, you know, also not an easy thing.
I think, you know, I think we need to rip the Band-Aid off and get rid of the hungry alligator shortcuts. Then we generate a lot more movement on the template toolkit at that point, I think. But as
Sure.
long as that's
Yeah.
there, you know, people are just kind of limping along with what's available and not, you know, trying to work around or just not worrying about the things that they can't get to in there.
Sure.
I think we need to have an uprising. I just went to Les Mis last night, so I'm fired up. So it's like, let's form a blockade and
Do away with the alligators. I agree though. It's hard to use in its current state, and not having both available enables the usage of the old system for sure. And then yes, there are bugs. And this exact conversation is on this bug I just found about depreciating it. Katrine was saying the exact same thing where like it needs documented and it needs to be done. All right, so it's 1 o'clock. We made our whole hour and all of our kohas are still working. We still don't know what George had for lunch, but hopefully he'll comment on the video later. And I guess we will call this a wrap and we'll meet again next month. Same bat time, same bat channel.
See all you batty people later.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for all the help.